when I first started real estate, I used to watch Selling Sunset, $1 Million Listing on Netflix, and I was cold calling nonstop. I was in the office. I remember days I was in the office from like 9 a.m. to like 11 p.m. and I was eating pizza. I gained like 20, 30 pounds in a month. No joke. Like I was literally bloated. You can look back at pictures of me. But my dream was always to be a celebrity realtor. I wanted to sell real estate to influencers, rappers, celebrities. It was literally my dream. So I remember like probably 2 to 3 months in, the Island Boys just blew up with the spikes in their head and they were getting trolled on the internet. I don't know where exactly I saw it, but I was seeing it. They were getting trolled on the internet for being like a Airbnb guy. Like they didn't own any assets. They were just Airbnb hopping for their houses. That's like what their fans and people in the comments were saying. So like I was just like, you know what? Maybe I should reach out to them, right? Because at the time, like I said, I was literally just cold calling nonstop, getting listings, moving around, meeting with people. They were saying no. I was just struggling a lot, but I wanted my niche because in real estate, it's important to find your niche. So again, that celebrity clientele, what was my niche, and I knew it was. So what I did was I reached out to their manager. His name was Poker, and I shot him a DM, and I was just like, let's just see where this goes. He's probably not even gonna see it. So I shot him a DM. I said, hey, Poker, I see that the Island Boys, are Airbnb hopping. Would they be open to purchasing a house? I would love to help them. But during that time, I had a lot of content on my social media, on my Instagram that I reached out to him with, of me, just working super hard. I was young, hungry. I was, just posting different day in the life videos. I was posting things I was learning about real estate, and I was just posting, right? So I guess he looked at my page, and about 3 days later, he responded. He said, hey man, shoot me an email and let's talk on email. So I shot him an email. I said, hey Poker, again, it's Danny. You just sent me your email on DM, and I want to get in contact with the Island Boys and show them some properties. So 5 days go by. During those 5 days, I'm still just hustling, nonstop. Boom, I get an email from him. Every morning I checked my email when I got to the office. And when I saw his email, he said, hey, give me a call. Right away, I called him. I said, hey, what's up, Poker? It's Danny. He said, hey, how's it going? I said, yeah, man. I said, let me FaceTime you when I get home because it's important. So I ended the call right there. He said, okay, I ended the call. The reason why I wanted to FaceTime him when I got home is because I had a poker table in my house, and I wanted to show him that I play poker too, because it's important to come to, people like working with people that remind themselves of themselves, right? People like you like hanging out with the friends that are like you. So I knew that if I show him a poker table, maybe he's like, oh, this kid is cool, whatever. So I went home, FaceTime, show him the poker table. But between the time that I ended the call with him and I got home to show him the poker table, I literally was focused for like the next 3 hours on figuring out how I was going to win his relationship, because I didn't know how to win his relationship. But I was like, you know what? Maybe since I was a nightclub promoter way back, I can take him out to an event that we're doing next week with Trippie Redd, and I can ask him if he wants to come, and then I can show him that I have notoriety and I have, pull in certain places, and I'm respected. So I went home, I FaceTime, I was like, yo, Poker, check it out. We play poker on Thursdays too. I was like, what's up, my man? I was like, yeah, brother, I just really, I want to get them a house, bro. I think I could save the money, It's just, they have what it takes to get a rental property. Why are they spending tens of thousands of dollars on Airbnbs when they could spend, this amount on a rental property? Just put me in touch with them. So he was like, yeah, man, for sure. I was like, so let's connect. He was like, I was like, you want to connect? He was like, yeah, man, let's meet up, whatever. I was like, hey, well, next week I have my boys hosting a Trippie Redd event. With Trippie Redd, we can go backstage. I'll pick you up and whatnot. And he was like, yeah, man, I'm super down. Now, I'm just thinking that he's just saying that just to be nice. But he was like, yeah, man, I'm super down. Let's do it, bro. Send me the details. What day is it? I was like, it's next Thursday. I was like, I'll pick you up. We can go there, bro. I want to show you around. We can connect, So here at this point, I'm trying to gain the friendship, gain the relationship to win the client. Because you have to win the relationship before you win the client. So I go home. So the call ends. I send him over the flyer. I send him over the details. I call my boy Nelson. I'm like, hey Nelson, I need you to, make sure that we're situated. I'm showing up with the Island Boys manager. He's like, I got you, bro. I was like, all right, bet. So I run upstairs. I'm like, yo, Chandler, my brother, my older brother. I'm like, yo, I just got off the phone with the Island Boys manager, bro. I'm supposed to be meeting them, and I'm gonna meet them so that I can, gain the relationship. And I promise you, from this day, when I meet them, I'm gonna get the Island Boys as a client. He was like, yeah, man, whatever. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think it's possible, whatever. I swear he said that, even though he always puts me up. Like, he never really puts me down. And I was like, all right, whatever. So I was super hyped, bro. This week I'm going into the office. I'm like, I'm the man, bro. I'm like, guys, I'm about to get the Island Boys as a client. I'm about to close a deal on the Island Boys. I'm literally telling people in my office, I'm closing a deal with the Island Boys before I even closed it, right? So just to fast forward, we get to the property. It comes to Thursday. I was talking to him throughout the week, texting him, calling him, not too much, but just enough, right? For him not to forget about Thursday. So Thursday comes. That morning, we were supposed to meet at like 7 p.m. So that morning I called my private driver, and I knew I had to invest in a little bit just to show him the lifestyle. I couldn't pull up in a freaking, but I had to pull up in like a cool car. So that Thursday, I pull up and with my private driver, and I pick him up in the Escalade. First thing he says is, yo, that's a nice car. I'm like, thank you, man. I'm nice dressed, ready to go. I have my watch on, my chain on. I'm just looking the part, right, to what I know he would want to be around. We go down to Miami. The owner comes out to the door to get us. We walk in past the crowd. We go all the way to upstairs. We're like the only people with Trippie Redd and his team. We're connecting. They know each other supposedly. I'm talking to him. We take a shot together. We're just chatting. We're nothing about the Island Boys. I'm just talking to him. We're just having fun, right? So I remember after the event, we left, and I was like, hey, you guys want to go somewhere else? They're like, yeah. So we go to another spot. We have fun, we go out, we continue the night, and on the way back, I was like, yo, after the night, we had a blast. He was like, Danny, you're locked in, bro, you're family. I was like, that's all I needed to hear. So on the way back that night, my driver, by the way, keep in mind, he was with us the whole time. So on the way back, I'm with my driver, right? And I'm like, yo, Poker, so what do you think about the Island Boys renting, bro? Like, let's make it happen, brother. Like, I'm telling you, I'll do whatever it takes to make it happen, bro. Like, I will close them on a property no matter what. Like, I will do it. He was like, yeah, I got you, bro. I'm gonna put you in contact with them. So I dapped him up. He left the car, and he was like, yo, I'll hit you up, bro. I'll let you know. I'm gonna talk to them. I was like, bet, nice to meet you. Next day I followed up. I was like, yo, my brother, it was a pleasure to meet you, dog. Like, I look forward to working with you, bro. Let's do some more things. Let's link, let's go back to Miami sometime, dog. Like, let's hang out. You can even come to my house to play poker. Like I said, I had a poker table. We play poker every Thursday. Come to my house, play poker. He's like, yo, definitely down. And now he responds to me. He calls me. He answers my text, right? So about a week later, he texts me. He's like, Danny. I'm like, what's up? He's like, the Island Boys need a house. Let me group chat you with them. Boom! Let's go. So he put me in a group chat with the Island Boys. I asked them what they were looking for. They answered. A lot of these high-profile clients are kind of hard to stay in touch with because they have so much stuff going on, especially when the Island Boys first blew up. This is when I started working with them. They must have thousands of text messages, different people hitting them up, calling them. But what I did that separated me from the rest, is I cut the chase. I said, I act like they were normal people. I didn't put them on a pedestal. I said, hey, nice to meet you, Alex and Frank Venegas. My name is Daniel. I'll be assisting you. Boom, boom, boom. How many bed and bath? What's your preferred move-in date? Paint the perfect picture of your property. And what's your budget? Got all the answers. Started sending them properties. Boom, 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 boom. Sent them a few properties. They ended up wanting to see one. So I finally got to meet them in person, which was a good feeling for me because now the ball, it moved from me getting in touch with the manager to the manager meeting with me to now me meeting the client, right? It was literally what I envisioned to now me finally showing the client a property. So I was like, damn, like I'm already at that point. Like the needle's moving forward. I'm gonna next close them on a property. So I bring them to one property. The brothers got in a fight. Literally, they got in an argument and ran out the house. One of them, the other one stayed. And, I was just like, whatever, I'm trying to gain the relationship. Like, guys, Let me just help you guys out. No problem. Act like it was no big deal. You know, I didn't put too much pressure on it. They called me back 2 days later. I didn't hear from them for 2 days. They called me back 2 days later. Hey, man, we need to move ASAP, right? So they're like, we need to move ASAP. We need to find a property. So I was like, listen, the best bet for you guys is for me to come to your house just to save you guys time and show you guys properties in person so that you guys can choose which property you guys want. So I went to their house about 3 or 4 times, right? And it took me, keep in mind, it took me 3 months to close them on a property, by the way, from when I first did that first showing. So 3 to 4 times throughout 3 months, I went to their house. I was still handling my other clients, but I went to their house. I remember the 3rd or 4th time, I actually, they ended up, you know, getting comfortable with me. They're like, Danny, you want me to cut your hair? So they ended up actually giving me a haircut. And we ended up being friends. You know, they were my age. We ended up being cool. So the 4th time I went to their house, they found a property that they really liked. And they were like, yo, these are just the type of people that they were. They're like, yo, Danny, like, I don't even want to see it in person. Like, see if they'll just rent it to me. And I'll sign the offer right now and give you the cash. I was like, all right. So I shot my luck. I called the listing agent. I said, hey, your property for rent for $30,000 a month. It was $30,000 a month. I said, my clients want to move in. You know, they're high profile clients. They're social media influencers. And they want to move in for a year. And, you know, we're ready to submit an offer now. She's like, definitely submit the offer. I write up the offer with them next to me at their house. Send it to them to sign each. They both sign it. I submit it to the listing agent and she accepts it within an hour and I'm still at their house. We're officially under contract. It was a $30,000 a month house in Southwest Ranches. Their move-in date was 2 weeks later. We're under contract. All right, I dap them up. They submit the escrow that same day. They wired it to the title company, submitted the escrow, and I left. And I was so happy. Like, there was no better feeling at that point. So I called everybody I knew. I was like, yo, I just got the Island Boys under contract. Yo, brother, I called my brother. I said, yo, I just got him under contract, bro. Finally, bro. Da-da-da-da. He's like, yeah, man, you know, I knew you could do it, bro. I'm like, appreciate you, bro. I call my mom, my dad. I call everybody that I love, you know, and just let them know, like, yo, I just got them under contract. Call realtors I know. It was super good feeling. So the closing day comes. They show up. I get them their property. And 2 weeks later, they didn't end up liking it. So they wanted a new property. But I was like, yo, it's not worth it. You guys are going to lose because they wanted first and double security instead of first, last, and security. They wanted first and double security in order to in order to move in. So I was like, you guys are going to lose double security, $60,000. Why would you move out? They're like, I don't care. Da, da, da. I'm like, shit, I'd take that. But they ended up staying. I ended up becoming more friends with them. We went out to dinners. I took them out for a dinner for the congratulations. You know, we ended up hanging out a few times. They got a dirt bike. I came over and rid it. Then they had a barber that came to their house that I really liked. So I ended up getting my hair cut from their barber a lot. And I was actually getting my hair cut at their house, right? I didn't want to be too pushy, but like I was just getting to the point where like I was like, now I can use them to get more clients in their industry because I wanted to be the celebrity realtor. This is my foot in the door right here. So I ended up hanging out with them. They were going to streams. Like, I don't know if you guys know kick streaming, but they were going to kick streams and streams. And I was going with them to go to those streams. And I met, you know, Jack Doherty there, which I ended up closing the house from him. I met all these other influencers that I ended up getting their contacts. And like, now I have all these guys' contacts that us realtors dream of just from one client, from hanging out with them now, being in the same rooms. And I still to this day couldn't thank them more, but it just goes to show you, like, man, you know, whatever you dream of, you can achieve. And networking is about winning the relationship. So now fast forward to now 2026, February 2026, you know, they kind of went on a downhill, which is unfortunate. But, you know, I'm still kind of working with them here and there. But yeah, guys, that's the story of how I got the Island Boys their first rental property when they first blew up. And everybody was trolling them on the internet. If you guys want to learn how, trust me, just watch, just try it. It'll work. Let's get it, guys. Appreciate y'all for watching. If you enjoyed, like, comment, and subscribe for me. I'm going to be dropping a lot of different testimonial stories and a lot of different content. I hope you guys enjoyed. Appreciate y'all. Blessings.